everyone, welcome to another episode of Custom Spray Mods. Now today I'm going to show you how to do a complete respray and colour change on a car at home in your backyard. So I'm here at VG Auto Paints to get all my materials. I'm going to ask some professionals what the best equipment is for the job, and then I'll be underway, so let's go.
Fuck yeah.
Right, I'm here with Mario from VG Auto Paints, and he's a professional spray painter, and he's going to tell us what kind of equipment we need to do a full respray on a car. So Mario, what is the first thing we need?
The first thing you're going to need is a compressor, an air compressor. We've got one here. It's a 2.7 horsepower air compressor, mate. It delivers about 205 litres of air per minute, mate. It's a 50 litre air tank as well, mate. It'll be ideal for what you need.
No worries. Alright, so what else do we need to...
Also, you're going to need a spray gun.
Let's have a look at that. Okay, the next thing we need is a spray gun. So what's a good spray gun for a respray, mate?
Mate, we've got these spray guns here, the work group spray gun here. This gun here comes with 3 setups. It comes with 1.8, it comes with a 2.5, and it also comes with a 1.4. Okay, 1.4 you use for your 2K and your air dry enamels. Your 1.8 you can use for your acrylic primers, 2K primers and your acrylic top coats, and the 2.5 you can use for your acrylic spray putty or spray polyesters. It also comes with a gun stand as well. It's a great little kit.
And how much are these things worth?
Mate, these are about $120, mate, all up. Great value.
Once the paint's dry, I understand we have to buff it, mate. So
that's correct, and you're going to need a buff.
That's right. So what's a good buff?
Mate, we've got these buffs here. Great buff, Evolution buff, mate. Variable speed buff, mate. 1 year warranty, can't go wrong.
And is this pad good for acrylic?
There's a Lambswool pad that is ideal for acrylic.
No worries, thanks.
No.
So I've got all my equipment, and now I'm going to go and respray the car. So what I might do is, if I put down a couple of coats of clear, you reckon you could help me out with the last coat?
Of course I can, yeah. I'll come down and give you a go, yeah, show you how it's done.
Yeah, that's a nice shirt. You reckon I could have one of them?
I'll bring down one with me, okay? As long as you wear it.
Thanks, Mario.
No worries.
The first thing you need to do is to remove all the trim, moulds, badges, headlights, doors, bumpers, as much as you can. The more you remove, the easier it'll be to paint. And you will end up with quite a few different screws and rubber parts, and try and keep them all separated so it's easy to put back together at the end of the job. And once you get all the moulds and badges off, you'll find quite a lot of residue of tape or glue. Now, this product here is called a caramel wheel. You put it on the end of a drill, and it's used to just get rid of all that residue of tape and glue. The next step is is to repair any dents and scratches. Then you need to sand the entire car. But first you spray down a guide coat. This will allow you to see where you've sanded and where you haven't. Now we're using wet sandpaper and we're going to use it with a block. This has a flat edge, so make sure you get a smooth finish. Now as you can see here, there's a little bit of guide coat that hasn't been sanded off. And this means that there is a small dent there. I'm going to circle that and we'll repair it later. Another method of sanding is using an electric or air sander. We're going to put an interface pad here, which is going to make it so we don't get a hard edge when we're sanding. Also going to use 400 grit sandpaper. We also need to scuff up every part of the car that we're going to paint. Using this scuffing paste and abrasive pad, we're going to get into all the little nooks and crannies that you can't really get with sandpaper. This will allow the new paint to stick to all the car. Now if there are parts of the car that you can't remove, you'll find that there's really hard places to sand. By using steel wool, you can get into all those little hinges and cracks that you can't reach. Now it's time to mask up the whole car. Now if there's parts of the car that you don't want to remove, you can use something like this cable to lift up the lip. This will allow you to put the tape on and get the paint onto there. Now it's time to put the base coat on. First thing I'd recommend is to get an air blower and blow away any dust or loose particles you might have on the area you're going to spray. You don't want any of that getting into your paint. Then you need to clean down the area with wax and grease remover. Use a rag soaked in wax and grease remover and then clean it off with a dry rag. Now it's time to mix your paint. Use 40 parts paint to 60 parts thinner. Now you got your paint all mixed up, it's ready to put into the gun. Always use a paint strainer. This will make sure you don't get any loose particles in the gun and clog it up. Now that you've got some paint in your gun, it's time to set it up. Make sure your gun is spraying correctly and that your fan is the correct width. You need to apply 3 to 4 coats of base coat. You can start by doing some light coats and then get heavier after that. Make sure you get coverage and pay attention to detail. Because we've got the doors off, First we're going to spray the inside of the car and the inside of the doors, and then once we've got the doors on, we'll do the rest of the car. Now that I've painted the interior and inside the doors, I've got the doors on and I have to start sanding the overspray with some 600 grit sandpaper and a block. I'm going to colour code my door handles, so first I'm going to spray some plastic primer, then I'll be ready for the base coat. Before applying the colour, I'm going to use a tack rag. This will get any little dust specks that might be on the body and make sure I get a smooth finish. When applying the base coat, it doesn't really matter how you do it, as long as you put 3 to 4 coats on and get coverage everywhere. You can start with some light coats and get heavier after that. Now it's time to put the clear coat on. Clear coat goes over metallic colours. If you're painting a solid colour, you don't really need a clear coat. When you're mixing it, mix 60 parts thinners, 40 parts clear. Make sure you stir it up good. When spraying the clear coat, it's important to follow this guide. Spray one side of the car and then continue to the other side. By using this method, you won't get a dry edge because the clear won't have time to dry before you put new clear on. If you finish the clear at the end of a panel, then you won't get as much of an edge. The next step is to cut and buff. You need to use 1500 grit wet sandpaper and some water and cut back the entire car. This will get the clear oil nice and smooth. By doing this, you'll leave fine scratches all over the whole car. So you need to use some cutting compound, a woolen pad on a machine, and get it buffed up. This will leave it nice and shiny and smooth. For the parts that you can't get to with a buff pad, you can do it by hand. It's a little bit harder, but it's the only way to get to those hard to reach areas. In these pictures you can see the difference between a buffed clear and a non-buffed clear. So by using the sandpaper and the buffing compound, you'll get a nice glossy finish. So there you go, that's how you do a full respray and colour change on a car in your backyard. Now we used acrylic paint, which is safe to spray in your backyard, and you can do it anytime you want, so go ahead, give it a go.